A possible 3-seat win each for Congress and BJP Sena in Mumbai. 6 seats that voted today. In Gujarat, polling commences and is over. The BJP is confident that the Modi factor will take the BJP far beyond the 14 seats it won in 2004. West Bengal enters the election. 14 seats vote, mostly in North Bengal and parts of Southwest Bengal. Already Congress made gains in North Bengal in 2004, and this time even the left concedes that faced with the Mamata Congress alliance, it is a tough fight. 15 seats in the Bundelkhand and Awadh region in UP went to polls today, a region where Mayawati had done very well in 2004. Will she retain her hold in Bundelkhand? And the question we're asking on the show tonight is BJP ahead of Congress in direct contest states. Remember, in our phase, there are 2 direct contest states, Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh. And is the BJP ahead in both? Type QOTD space Y for yes, QOTD space N for no. SMS to 51818. And as you know, you can also express an opinion on IBNLive.com. To start voting on that question, we'll take it up later in the show. Joining us tonight, in fact, Nilotpal Basu of the CPM, Ravi Shankar Prasad of the BJP, Rajdeep Sardesai, Editor-in-Chief CNNIBN, Yogendra Yadav, election analyst, and of course joining us also from Delhi is Abhishek SInghvi of the Congress party, and we also have Deeptosh Majumdar joining us from our newsroom. First, let's get you our top story. As temperatures across India soared above 40 degrees, the voter turnout in many regions reduced to half of what it was during phase 2 of elections. Let's take a look at the turnout figures of the 3 phases so far. In phase 1 it was 59%, phase 2 it was 56.66%, phase 3 50% is the tentative figure. As summer climbs, turnout is declining. It was a no-show in Mumbai. More than half of Mumbai decided to take the day off. The voting percentage remained at 43%, the same for the entire state. Mumbaikars, supposedly angry at the political class and the system for 26/11, simply did not turn up. Prachi Jatania has the story. It was public anger like Mumbai had rarely seen before. After the horror of 26/11, thousands of citizens targeting the system and the political class demanding change.
Our government is really not doing anything.
But just 5 months later, it seems South Mumbai has forgotten. In the very constituency where 26/11 occurred, only 43.3% of eligible voters turned up to cast their ballots, almost 1% less than 2004. Of course, there were some who did turn up because of 26/11.
What has made Mumbai come out and vote today?
I think it's the various atrocities that Bombay has faced.
What was simmering earlier has now boiled over.
I think every citizen needs to come out and vote, and that's the only way we can make a difference.
But most of South Mumbai didn't vote, either frustrated by administrative hassles.
Machine is spoiled.
So you didn't?
No, we didn't vote. What, they want us to wait for 1 hour?
So, where is the booth? Nobody knows. Neither the help desk knows, nor the policeman knows. Nobody knows.
So क्या voting नहीं कर पाए सर?
नहीं कर पाए साहब, वापस आ गए हम.
Or simply too indifferent to care.
I had work pressures, and that's why I couldn't vote. I mean, my work is more important to me.
Just what will it take to get South Mumbai to vote?
If these campaigns have not worked, if 26/11's impact has not worked, if all the talk, all the registration, nothing translates into voter turnout, I think we should all hang our heads in shame.
With Prachi Jatania in Mumbai, in New Delhi, Nilanjana Bose. He cast his vote and proceeded to create a controversy. After casting his vote, L.K. Advani said that voting should be made compulsory and the terms of Lok Sabha and Assembly should be fixed. Here's a report.
On the day his constituency went to vote, L.K. Advani sparked off a debate with 2 radical ideas, making voting compulsory and fixing the terms of the Lok Sabha and Assembly elections so that even if a government loses majority, it is allowed to complete its term.
लोकसभा का और विधानसभाओं का चुनाव एक साथ हो और लगभग 1 तारीख पर हो, और इलेक्शन कमीशन को इस बात पर भी विचार करना चाहिए कि क्या हिंदुस्तान में भी हम वोटिंग कंपल्सरी कर सकते हैं.
Though neither of these ideas are exactly new, they are being seen as Advani projecting himself as a patriarch who can think and act at a national level to take the space of statesmen vacated by Vajpayee. But they also reflect Advani's fear of a fractured mandate that could lead to an unstable government. The test of Advani's suggestions are in their practicality. something other political parties point out.
A fixed term means what? You need not be accountable. But you are arguing in terms of stability versus accountability, and I think this matter was settled in our Constituent Assembly, should remain so. What is of supreme importance for the country is accountability.
This is a suggestion that can only be brought about if there is a constitutional amendment.
There's one suggestion of Advani's though that will be readily agreed to by all. Polling in February when the weather is much better, and which will also let the BJP's core urban middle class voter come to the polling booth. With bureau inputs in New Delhi, Neelu Vyas.
So our first big talking point tonight, should voting be compulsory as suggested by LK Advani? That's the big suggestion he made today. And we're not only going to discuss Advani's suggestion, we're also going to start by discussing turnout and the low turnout in Mumbai and what this means for who will bag Mumbai. Is Mumbai a test case for a kind of elitist brand of mobilization? The beautiful people mobilize, the beautiful people tell each other to vote, the beautiful people come out and vote, the political parties get lulled into the belief that yes, mobilization is happening and don't actually mobilize the voters.
I'm tempted to say I told you so. But I
You were scornful about the beautiful people in the morning.
I wouldn't say so for two reasons. One, I'll just wait for the actual turnout figures to come, because usually the figures that Election Commission puts out in the evening tend to be underestimates. In any case, today was expected to be low. You remember even in 2004, this was the lowest polling phase. So it's gone down maybe by 2 points or so. But yes, it does show that we may have taken all those protests rather too seriously.
They were media protests and they didn't really work on the ground.
No, they had some content in it, but as I kept saying at that point as well, unless these things turn into political and have political organizational content to it, that itself is unlikely to transform anything about elections.
So that's where the responsibility, Ravi Shankar Prasad, of the political party has to come in. You can't just rely on civil society actually. That's the lesson. To mobilize, the political parties have to go out there and mobilize the voters. Otherwise, it's not going to work out, however high profile the mobilization campaign may be.
First of all, what Yogendra stated, the final figure will come tomorrow morning or afternoon, and I think it will be nearly what is there in the first or second phase. But having said that, the low turnout in Mumbai is really disturbing, because for 10 days politicians was a bad word in Mumbai, hyped by media, people looking for Musharraf, for military rule. We saw all this, okay? And subsequent elections showed politicians are not that bad as they are made out to be. Those who deliver are re-elected in Delhi, Chhattisgarh or in Madhya Pradesh. The point is, civil society's view need to be taken into account. They are important. But those who articulate those views are equally, their responsibility is also there. They must ensure that their instrument of ballot paper by which they can shape the country's destiny is properly used. Therefore, I say, don't equate Mumbai only with elitist, only with cuff parade and Worli or Seaface or whatever you call it. There are a whole range of middle class people, lower middle class people.
But they didn't come out that much.
Huh?
They didn't come out that much.
No, that I will reserve my comment. But some of the comments of the great literati I saw just now on the screen, they were equally shocked. Therefore, it is not only our failure, maybe a collective view has to be taken, and here I would like to endorse what Advani has stated. Maybe we have to think that voting has to be made compulsory.
Do you want to respond to the compulsory voting argument, or is that anti-democratic in your view?
Both the issues. First of all, you see, I mean, essentially in a political system, the onus is on the political parties. First, what kind of program they project, what kind of platform they choose. And it is primarily the responsibility of the political parties to inspire confidence and a sense of identification with the common voter that he will come out. Now, I don't want to rub salt into injury. I mean, generally, voting has been much higher in places where the left has been traditionally strong. But the point remains...
That's because of the cadres, Mr. Basu.
I mean,
the cadres do mobilize voters to the booths. I mean, that is a fact of the left.
And they take the issues to the people and create.
I would like to interrupt here for a moment.
And let me also on the compulsion bit. No. I will yield, no problem. But
my grievance is, I remember in my state of Bihar, I think Maharashtra, left was a big force. If that program was so, I would say, inspiring, how is it that they are absolutely on a parched land in Maharashtra and Bihar? Come on, let's be a little realistic. The point I'm trying to highlight is that yes, it is a matter of concern. The political class and the civil society both need to work together.
But is the solution compulsory voting? Is the solution compulsory voting? I mean, no, is the solution compulsory voting?
Absolutely
under the constitution, there is a right. You have a right to vote. A right doesn't imply that it's a forcible right. You can't, the moment you force someone to vote, as Mr. Advani, I can see where Mr. Advani is coming from. I can see where a senior politician is disturbed if only 45-50% of the people vote. But the fact is, it's left to the Indian voter to decide. You can't coerce people into voting. If people stay away, well, that's their free choice.
And it's a fundamental right, isn't it? Do not vote, to exercise conscientious objection.
When you are saying that there is a right to vote, there is an implicit right not to vote also.
The freedom to not vote. That's an important thing.
Sagarika, only one moment, Sagarika. Our democracy is now 60 years old. There shall be no military coup in India. And after the disastrous experience of Indira Gandhi, no leader will dare impose emergency. Okay? India shall be governed by democracy, political parties and elections. And therefore, it is important that the people of the country need to have a stake in the process. In that context, I am trying to highlight, Advani ji has a point which needs to be debated.
More people need to get in a state. Abhishek, Manu Singhvi, let me get you in here. What do you make of Advani's statement that there should be compulsory voting?
All good suggestions are welcome, but I have two problems. One is all of Mr. Advani's good suggestions seem to be coming in the middle of a campaign. He never took any concrete steps during his 6-year term, and he did not even take any concrete steps by way of moving a bill or coming up with a concrete plan during his opposition the last 5 years. Number two, this itself is not a good idea at all. It's one of those things which just sounds good in words, in theory. It's completely impractical. It's not thought out, and it shows, unfortunately, that the NDA and Mr. Advani have not done their homework. I'd like you to consider there is no country even half the size and scale of India
Abhishek
which
is
can
still
not,
in
no
the
country
election
half, let me
campaign
complete.
I'm
Mr.
very sorry
Ravi
to say.
Shankar,
Come on,
don't interrupt me.
Advani phobia now, my good friend.
Please don't interrupt me.
We are debating something quite different.
Don't interrupt me. You are not allowing me to speak because you don't have any facts to rebut me on.
All right.
Let me hear me out first, then you make your caustic comments. Your caustic comments will not take away from the main topic. Now, Mr. Advani has not done his homework, nor is the NDA, nor have the likes of the strategists like Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, who scoff at my criticism. No
and the last 5 years you kept quiet.
Can
conspicuous silence.
No country the size of India can have a compulsory monitoring of voting or not voting. Will Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad and Mr. Advani propose a penalty for not voting?
I think
will you
Abhishek,
manage so many million voters? No other country in the world has proposed this absolutely ham-handed idea.
Abhishek, I think you are being too legalistic in your response. I think the essence is about democracy.
Nilu, he's an eminent lawyer. He's a very eminent lawyer.
I concede that, but at the same time, I'm saying basically this is all about democracy and accountability and sense of voluntary participation. So both the ideas of compulsory voting as well as the fixed term are ideas.
It's impossible to implement, and it denies the fundamental right to not vote.
It is in basic disconnect with the spirit.
Okay, let's move on to the next part of our question that we're asking, related to voting and related to turnout. The kind of turnout in Mumbai that we saw, we're getting a political sense that it's a three-way. It's three seats. Congress, BJP, Sena. What's your take? How will the turnout affect the result?
Turnout, it appears that is about as low as it has normally been. So I don't see that becoming a major factor as compared to last time. And in that sense, we are not getting the signal of a fundamental shift. BJP Shiv Sena needed to do much better than they did last time, but that doesn't seem to be the message coming across. If I can just say one thing about compulsory voting, there are countries in the world which practice it. Australia has compulsory voting, but there's no evidence that has increased any civic participation, that has increased people's enthusiasm about democracy. And in a country like India, this would be invitation to another license quota Raj. A Thanedar will come to your house to check whether you voted or not. I'm surprised that the leader of Mr. Advani's stature has announced this kind of a thing without really
Let's get to the bottom of the the motivations of Mr. Advani? Why did he suddenly make the statement that voting should be compulsory? Deeptosh Majumdar is joining us. Deeptosh, you had an explanation. Why is Advani propagating compulsory voting?
Well, Sagarika, if you go at the bottom of it, democracy is about choice, and choice and compulsion cannot live together. How can you have compulsory voting in a democracy? I think it gives out the BJP's probable fear that its own section of voters are really not coming out to vote. They had expected a massive turnout post-terror, post-26/11 in Mumbai. That has not happened. Having said that, I must also say, point out to the likes of Mr. Abhishek Singhvi that Mr. L.K. Advani is also raising some issues which are causing debate in this election, whether it be bringing back money from foreign banks or whether it be the issues which you have raised today, the issues which are getting debated.
So Mr. Advani is coming up with debating points, but on the other hand, he's also coming up with a point that directly suits your interests. Let's face it, you need upper class people and upper caste people to come out, and they don't.
It will not be fair. I don't think in 2005 Bihar is a big voting percentage, okay? Yet Lalu Prasad was literally smashed. Therefore, voting percentage, I still feel in Mumbai, terrorist apprehension would play a role regardless of this percentage. We will do much better, that is our feedback. But again, Advani ji is not raising a debating point at all. Advani ji is only trying to put before the nation an idea, debate it, because learn to have a stake in the political process.
No, but isn't it also about political leaders, Rajdeep? I mean, if political leaders are not inspiring you, if the issue is not grabbing you, then you're not coming out to vote. How you can't keep blaming the voter?
No, not. Therefore, after all, there are certain measures can be taken. And Advani ji has been one political leader who has always deeply studied election laws, electoral reforms both. It has been a pet subject.
If I can say that, there are certain suggestions that Mr. Advani has been making for 25-30 years about proportional, about presidential or parliamentary. I can understand, I can disagree or agree. But someone of his stature to float this idea without any debate, any public thing, any serious study, this is really disappointing.
He has provoked a debate. Now the like of Yogendra Yadav will follow with great study. Rajdeep will have a debate. Nothing wrong with it. Why we are cagey about it? Why we are cagey about it? Have a debate.
I was also surprised by the caption of your original package that it's a radical idea. It's not a radical idea. These are ideas which are born out of antiquated views of the RSS, where
all right, here also RSS.
Yes, absolutely.
Come on, my friend Niraj Basu.
Absolutely, this
at least it's fair RSS once.
Fixed term presidential form are all old RSS ideas and all critique of the Indian Constitution.
I think the fair point. I mean, the fair point to be made. I think Deeptosh alluded to it. Is that L.K. Advani wants to use this election to raise himself above the others, to say, look, I am raising issues.
To become a Vajpayee-like figure,
it's
to raise national debates.
Look, normally when you come out of a polling booth, what do you say? We are confident we are going to win the election. That's what everyone says when they come out of a polling booth. What did L.K. Advani do? He raised an issue. He threw up two issues. One, that election should be held every 5 years simultaneously, Lok Sabha Assembly, and he threw up the issue of compulsory voting. He's thrown up, as Deeptosh says, the black money issue. Whether you like it or not, the fact is, L.K. Advani is raising issues.
Okay.
Issues which are subject to television debates like this. Let's give credit where it's due. You can disagree with what he says, but at least among all the politicians of this election, L.K. Advani and whoever are his strategists, I don't know whether Ravi Shankar is among them, are raising issues which we don't see the other side doing.
Okay, well, let's take a short break at that point. L.K. Advani raising contentious issues in this election. Is it because he is now placing himself firmly in the Vajpayee mold, firmly in the national mold? Coming up on Face the Elections, we head to West Bengal, where 14 seats voted today, including the seat of Darjeeling. Welcome back to Face the Election and to this Phase 3 polling day special. The SMS question we're asking this evening is BJP ahead of Congress in direct contest states. Direct contest states in our phase being Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh, where elections have finished. What are you telling us? 93% are saying yes, 6% are saying no. Big majority they're saying no. Ravi Shankar Prasad is looking very happy there. But we'll come to this discussion in just a bit. First, let's concentrate on West Bengal. And in fact, the question we're asking on West Bengal, is the left facing its greatest challenge in 32 years? Mr. Nilotpal Basu, in North Bengal, which is the region that went to the polls today, that was the region that the Congress did very well in 2004. Now with the Gorkha land demand being taken up by the BJP, are you really on the back foot there in North Bengal?
Absolutely not. We are on a very front foot, and we hope that we will actually increase our seats. You see, last time around in this region of 14 seats, we were actually having 13 seats, and 1 seat has increased due to delimitation. Now Congress got 3 seats and we got, left front got 10. We think in fact our number of seats are going to increase this time. The problem this time around is that in this region, the demand for separate Gorkha land by the Gorkha Janmukti Morcha, we have no problem politically in facing that demand, but basically what is happening, that they are intimidating, they are not allowing campaign to take place in the hills. One. Secondly, the Kamtapur demand by the Kamtapuri People's Party, and by the way, Jashwant,
it is nice to hear from Nandigram and Singur someone blaming others for intimidation. It is something amusing, very interesting.
Let me complete. If you want to have the viewers know something about what is actually happening, then there's this Kamtapur People's Party.
Let the viewers know the garbled view of the left.
And the greater Coach Bihar demand by the greater Coach Bihar party, and the leader is contesting from the jails for the Coach Bihar constituency. Now, these ideas are being backed by very dubious.
But this is a very serious implication for you, because if you're looking at these demands growing, then really your support base is really
It's not
shrinking.
growing. These parties have fought the panchayat elections, have fought the assembly elections. These are not growing demands, but these are being disproportionately highlighted.
No, the point is both sides, everyone is playing with fire there at the moment. The BJP has sent Jaswant Singh from Rajasthan, from the desert to the mountains. Is the BJP, is Ravi Shankar Prasad committing that if the NDA comes to power, they will allow a separate state of Gorkha land? Will they bifurcate Bengal? Is that a commitment that you are making?
Yes, let me very clear to you. The Gorkha Mukti Morcha came to BJP. They wanted to have an alliance. And just to ensure a good voice of theirs in Delhi through the nationalist party like the BJP, allow an important leader to contest. This is how Jaswant Singh went there. I see it as a very positive development. We are for small states. We created Uttarakhand, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh. As far as Gorkha land is concerned, our manifesto is very clear. We shall consider all the options sympathetically. That's all. But the point is, once it is done, because the left is losing ground, the left is feeling as if a great anti-national movement is going on. Something we don't support at all. After all, those Gorkha people have fought for the country.
Jogendra,
we are proud of their
one
contribution.
Small question I have to ask. Now, BJP was the first party to come out with its entire list of nominations for West Bengal. They fielded one person called Dawa Sherpa. He's a retired IPS officer. And that fellow was not allowed to enter even for open campaign. And he complained, to election authorities, that I am not being allowed.
So the BJP is openly backing these kind of groups.
understanding what they have written in manifesto and what Jaswant Singh is committing in the hills is completely different.
I strongly oppose the charge that the Gorkha movement is a secessionist movement.
Okay.
It is a movement for a separate state.
Ravi Shankar Prasad, can I ask you a question?
As it was in Jharkhand.
Ravi Shankar,
they are not allowing people to.
Sir, Yogendra has a point.
Sir, I cannot match in shouting. I have a simple question.
You are not shouting, sorry. That's not a proper word.
Okay.
I have a simple question,
yes,
sir. Gorkha Mukti Morcha comes with this particular suggestion, which is compatible. Does your party examine or not examine the character of your ally? Is that ally involved in physical violence, intimidation or not? The fact that CPM did that in Sindur and Nandigram doesn't mean that Gorkha Mukti Morcha doesn't do it there. My fear is that both of you are right about what you're saying about each other. And this is really playing with fire, as Rajdeep said.
I would differ with you. In any mass movement, I cannot say that some kind of violent activity would not have taken place.
I'm not speaking of some activity, I'm speaking of top leaders. I'm speaking of a reign of terror.
For information, JP movement against us, except rape and murder, all charges were foisted. We know it.
You are equating Mr. Gurung with JP. Are you serious about it?
I'm saying about myself. Okay, therefore the point is,
I'm just saying Gorkha movement is like JP's movement.
Just a minute.
Are you serious about it?
I'm only saying that if Gorkha people today are demanding a separate state, Uttarakhand, so many violence was there. People were killed also in that Andolan. Therefore, you should not belittle.
No, but why are you? Why do you believe?
I have
Why do
a
you
more
believe?
fundamental question.
This is not fair.
You see,
You call
Darjeeling
them
is,
secessionists.
Darjeeling,
Yeah, sure. That is grossly unfair.
Ravi, let me ask you another question. Now, Darjeeling Hills is diverse in terms of both ethnicity as well as religiosity. You have religious minorities, Christians, Muslims, Tibetans, Lepchas, Bhutias. Now, each of these associations have formally adopted resolution condemning the fascist methods used by GMM.
Okay.
And I must also share with your
I see
viewers
fascism coming back after a long time in the
that
political
3
discussion.
days back, a remote charge in a place called Pedong,
Sagarika,
26
elections
kilometers
have
from
taken
Pong.
place. Let's wait for the result.
Let's bring Deeptosh in
It is
here.
not an election campaign here in this
Nilotpal
studio.
Basu there saying, Nilotpal Basu saying that in fact aggressive Hindutva has come to the Darjeeling Hills. Churches are being desecrated. There is a situation where the diversity of that area is being wiped out because of the BJP support of the
Sagarika,
Gurkha
indication of
movement.
desperation. This is not fair. You are taking his words as gospel truth.
No, I'm saying that's
Sorry.
his argument.
This is not fair.
No, I'm saying that's his argument.
citing
Deeptosh, let me get a word. Let me get a word in
This is
from
all
you.
his allegations which they are doing it. They take it with a pinch of salt. That's all I have to say. Yes.
Go ahead, Deeptosh.
I think Nilotpal Basu is exaggerating the situation there in the hills. I think it's a festering problem. It was not solved. Autonomy was granted definitely in Darjeeling, but it's a problem which was never fully resolved. The CPM tried to buy out Subhas Gishing, which they failed to. The ethnic, the possibility of an ethnic confrontation always remained in Darjeeling, and I think also that the BJP is playing with fire at this point of time. Without dialogue between BJP and the state government, the BJP jumping into the fray is also causing probably creating the ground for further friction. But definitely the primary blame should go to the left front, because they thought they had done well by buying out Subhas Gishing without realizing the aspirations of the hill people. Their sense of neglect had not been addressed at all.
It's not a question of buying
Let me
out
just get in Abhishek Manu Singhvi.
Subhas Gishing was not our
Okay.
choice. It was the choice of the people of that.
Let me get in Abhishek Manu Singhvi.
I mean, very wrong.
Nationalistic connections are well known.
Analysis I cannot accept.
BJP's nationalistic connections are well known.
No, but you
Because
have not
this alliance,
failed to understand
this
the
alliance,
aspirations of the
no,
hill
no,
people.
because
In fact, the
national
left
interest.
front
The
leadership
question-
has been very Plains and Bengali
No,
centric.
absolutely not, because Subhas Gishing was not our choice. He was a choice of the people of Darjeeling
let us
area.
discuss
Okay,
about
let me get in Abhishek Manu Singhvi. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, the left's ignoring the aspirations of the hill people of Darjeeling. What's your reaction to that?
I'm surprised and happy that you think that the Congress is also part of this debate. After all that long wrangling, which I've been watching for the last
Just jump
half an
in
hour.
whenever you want to say
At least have
anything.
a second question for me.
Just talk whenever you want to say
I
anything.
can't shout. On an OB, I can't outshout the huge amount of shouting going on there. Now, the BJP has no stake in West Bengal. The BJP doesn't really matter to the BJP what happens in the rest of West Bengal. And therefore, while calling itself a nationalist party, it has taken one of the most double standard, hypocritical views on the Gorkha land movement. I don't understand all this debate for the last 10 minutes which I've been seeing. You just have to go and hear the speeches of Mr. Jaswant Singh. He is openly and totally and comprehensively and unequivocally promising everything possible to the Gorkha land movement to the point of separatism.
That is
Right,
grossly
okay, we're gonna
wrong.
have
Anything
to-
like the
Grossly
manifesto
wrong.
of the
Mr. Singhvi, I
BJP.
apologize.
With the
We
BJP,
have-
let me finish. Let me
We
finish.
have to go into a break,
Please.
right? Very quickly.
No, I'm saying you don't have to go into the manifesto of the BJP, which says we consider Gorkha land. Mr. Jaswant Singh is day in day out doing that.
Okay,
Congress
but
desperation
Mr.
saying.
Abhishek
There is
Manu
absolutely
Singhvi,
no principle on
Mr.
that.
Abhishek Manu Singhvi, my analysis from your answers is you're saving all your fire for the BJP. You artfully never said anything about the left front and its attitude. What does this say about what you're
I
hoping
don't
for
have the time to say
after
anything.
the 16th of May? Well, let's take a short
have
break
no
at this
time.
point. Two states where there is a direct contest between the BJP and the Congress voted today. Who is ahead in these direct fights? It's polling day day of phase 3 of the general elections, grueling general elections. In fact, it's a real marathon. The SMS question we have been asking is BJP ahead of Congress in direct contest states. What are you telling us, in fact, to that question? In fact, 92% are saying yes. Only the rest are saying no. Abhishek, Manu Singhvi, let's start the discussion with you. You've been feeling left out. Now, the 5 direct contest states, right? Gujarat, Delhi, Jharkhand, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh. Leaving aside Delhi, we find the BJP ahead in all.
I think this is a false comparison, it's a selective comparison. You have to see the whole of India, because it is the whole of India which makes up the MPs. Secondly, it is not even true in the states we are saying. Madhya Pradesh, for example, had 2 incumbencies of the Digvijay Singh government. When we lost it, there was a huge gap. Last time, when we had the assembly elections in Madhya Pradesh, we had a vote swing of over 4% in favor of the Congress. Now, because the vote swing during the ouster of Mr. Digvijay Singh was very high, therefore we couldn't bridge the gap at one go. But the trend and the move in Madhya Pradesh is totally in favor of the Congress. And maybe you'll see the difference this time.
Well, I was in charge of Chhattisgarh.
In Gujarat, we've always done very well compared to
in the last
the state assembly elections. In
Manu,
Gujarat, we've done very well
I would like to just
national
join here.
assembly,
Abhishek, Manu, I just like to
parliamentary
join
elections.
Their president, my good friend Suresh Pachauri, could not muster the courage to contest from Hoshangabad. This is the pathetic state of Congress party. It is fully divided, except Kamal Nath today and Jyotiradish Scindia. All other states and constituencies are in a state of uncertainty. Chhattisgarh, we are likely to win 10 out of 11. I know that state inch by inch. Therefore, Abhishek, at times be very honest about assessment of the ground
Is
realities.
it time for you to be honest about the lack of organization, Mr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi? Is that the basic point that is coming at the Congress time and time again? The lack of a structure on the ground.
Tell me, if we have a lack of a structure on the ground, how did the BJP go out in 2004 and how did we come in? And how is it going to happen in 2009 that we are going to have more than the BJP as the single largest party?
You have just lost the power 2 months ago.
It's a very selective,
you know,
it's an extremely selective.
Okay, but let me pursue that point with Yogendra.
Because it suits the BJP.
The Congress was going to get its act together in Uttar Pradesh. I mean, that's not a direct contest state, but let's talk about Uttar Pradesh for organization. And instead of being serious about organization, instead of fielding new faces, we're back to the Rita Bahuguna Joshis and the Jitin Prasadas and the Salman Khurshid. It's as if the Congress is not serious about actually fighting the elections on the ground.
What's happening is, I think both the national parties are beginning to degenerate in their organizational capacity. Congress is much advanced in degeneration.
But in the BJP's case, you have these dynamic chief ministers who are delivering verdicts.
That's right. And BJP's problem in the direct contest is not that they are behind, because they've done very well. They are likely to do well in some of the states that you've mentioned. Their problem is that they've already reached a saturation point last time. They cannot possibly go up. And in Rajasthan, they are likely to lose. How would they make up that loss is their real difficulty.
That's the difficulty as far as this election. But if you look at the long term, look at it over the last 15 years, what's been happening. Every election since 89, the BJP has been winning in Gujarat. Abhishek Manu Singhvi is right that in Lok Sabha election in 2004 they did better than any other election, but that was an aberration, because over 20 years now the BJP is consistently winning Gujarat.
And it was because of alliances.
Look at what is happening in Madhya Pradesh. The fact is that over the last 7-8 years, it's clear that the BJP has become the dominant party of Madhya Pradesh. Look at what is happening in Chhattisgarh. The fact is that in Chhattisgarh, the BJP has become the dominant party of Chhattisgarh. In Jharkhand, there is a strong possibility that the Congress this time, by its alliance with JMM, is losing out. I think the Congress has to seriously examine why is it that in these direct contest states, it's not doing so well. The Congress may well be saved in this round by Maharashtra, for example, where as a result of a robust tie-up with the NCP, the Congress may do better than most people expect. But in the direct contest states, there is a problem that the Congress is having on taking on the BJP, and the simple reason, Sagarika, and the last point, is because they're not projecting leaders at the state level. Jyotiradish Scindia is reduced to a leader of Guna Gwalior. Kamal Nath is reduced to a leader of Chhindwara. Where are the leaders who will take on a Shivraj Singh Chauhan, who will take on a Raman Singh? You go back to a tired old Ajit Jogi in Chhattisgarh. How are you going to take on these robust leaders of the BJP?
Is there a structural problem then with the Congress, that you don't want to project leaders at the end of the day because they might end up threatening the status quo with the preeminent high command in Delhi?
It all depends on which states you look at. It all depends on how selective you are. You take a direct state, Delhi, we beat them 3 times down. You take a direct state, Rajasthan, we beat them just recently, and everybody knows we are winning the Lok Sabha
Abhishek,
elections
wait
there.
for 16 for Rajasthan.
Just a minute, just
Yes.
me. Now you're not allowing me to complete.
Yes,
Every time because I'm an OB, you're taking unfair advantage. I don't say 2
The
sentences
next
before
time
you
you've
start
got to be
speaking.
in our studio,
I
Mr.
haven't
Singhvi.
interrupted you once even.
You've got to come and sit in our studio next time.
Yeah, that's not a ground for being discriminative when I'm an OB. Now, take Maharashtra. Maharashtra actually has a direct contest between 2 parties always together, BJP and Shiv Sena, Congress and NCP for the last 3 elections. We beat them hollow in direct contest.
Hollow?
In
Come on,
Madhya
again
Pradesh,
wrong.
I repeat, we had a
Don't
4%.
beat them hollow.
Yes. Okay, we beat
Your
you.
English is very good,
Okay,
my
we
good
beat you.
friend Abhishek
Not hollow,
Singhvi.
not hollow,
That
we
was not
beat
the
you
case
this
in
time.
Maharashtra.
Not hollow, but we beat you.
Ah.
It doesn't
Okay,
matter.
let me get a
Mrs. as good as a
last
mile. Mrs. as good as a mile.
Let me get a
And
last one
lastly,
in.
you take Madhya Pradesh, we have a 4% swing of vote, and this time we'll do very much better. So where is this whole thing about direct contest, direct states?
Okay, Deeptosh Majumdar, let me get you in here. A number of observers have said that this is an election that the Congress could have won. It had the goodwill factor of Manmohan Singh. It had the Arthik Sankat that everybody is worried about. But it simply did not get its act together when it came to candidates. It didn't get its act together when it came to state organization. It didn't get its act together in terms of projecting a leadership. So in many ways, the Congress may have had a good idea. It totally lacked the execution.
Well, 2 reasons basically, Sagarika. Structurally is the big question. Congress has lost the plot structurally. Say, for example, take for Gujarat. 2007 they lost to Narendra Modi. Since then, a lot of things have happened in Gujarat. Congress hasn't created a leader. Congress hasn't given responsibility. What the BJP is doing, they are projecting a Shivraj Singh Chauhan, a Raman Singh, and they are giving him accountability that you deliver the state for us. Apart from Sheila Dikshit in Delhi, that kind of accountability has not been given to anybody. Right. If Ashok Gehlot was given that opportunity, he would have converted Rajasthan in a bigger victory state. And now that he has Rajasthan with him, he'll probably do better in this election.
Are leaders not encouraged because of the potential threat factor to the
Sagarika,
family?
one more
Let's
point
put it that
I wanted to make. The Congress is also losing the plot on the ground because it is not going with the social groups which are really becoming politically more expressive. Both Congress and BJP are therefore out of the race in Uttar Pradesh because they are not understanding the OBCs or the MBCs.
That's really the point I wanted to make.
No OBCs in the Congress leadership at all.
Yeah, apart from the leadership factor, the important factor